guys, it's Julie. In this video, I'm going to show you my favorite cream contour tricks and my secret tip for getting full, perfect lips. My model today is beautiful Pamela. Skin prep is so important if you want smooth, glowy skin. I'm using the Makeup Forever Skin Equalizing Primer and a dual fiber brush by MAC. Next, I'm going to use the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer to prime her eyes before we do the shadow. I've been loving this concealer as an eyeshadow base lately because it's super pigmented, it conceals everything, and it helps the shadows stay on all day. Before I go in with the shadows, I'm just going to set the concealer with a translucent powder. First, I'm going to start with the shade Tempera. This is my absolute favorite for highlighting under the brows and the inner corner of the eyes. It's really pretty, and it kind of has like a pinky undertone that makes the eyes look more bright and awake. Going in with the shade Orange Soda, I'm going to just lay this down as a transition color before I get in with the darker shadows. I like to use a big fluffy brush just so it spreads it over the majority of the lid. This is such a perfect transition shade if you're really loving the warm, golden, sultry look that is so in right now. Because the orange undertones are very smooth and creamy, and they complement skin tones really well versus like a Cheeto kind of orange. Next, I'm going to go in with the shade Rustic. I'm going to start defining her crease a little bit, placing the brush near the lash line because that's where I want it to be the darkest, and then sweeping it outward in a V, and when there's not much left on my brush, I'm going to bring it in towards the front of her eyebrow. I also sized down my brush to something more dense and fluffy versus that wider one I was using on the transition color. Next, I'm going to use the shade Rose Pink to add a little bit of a sheen to her lid. So I'm pulling up her eyebrow a little bit just to flatten out the lid so that I can smooth that color onto the lid. It makes it appear a little bit more shiny that way. But honestly, to get the most shine out of a metallic shadow, your finger works the best. So usually I'll lay it on with the brush and then I'll put a little bit on my finger just where I want that really pop of glow. To add even a little more shine, I'm going to use the Nicole Guerrero Anastasia Glow Palette in the pinkish shade. I'm just using this color to brighten the front of her eyes near the tear duct. I love a little bit of glow in that inner tear duct area. I just feel like it looks super pretty when their eyes are open. Next, I'm just going to define the crease a little bit more with the shade Mulberry. I'm really liking like the warm pinky tones that we're doing so far, so I just want to enhance that a little bit. And Mulberry has like some really pretty burgundy undertones. Before I get into the face, I'm just going to clean up under her eyes with a makeup wipe and just kind of sharpen the edge of the shadows. I applied my foundation to the Beauty Blender, and I'm swiping across the high points of her face that need the most coverage, and then I'm going to use what's left on the blender to blend it all together. The flow of client makeup I usually like to do, I'll do all the skin prep first, I'll exfoliate, I'll hydrate, I'll do the primer, and then I work on the eyes. So by the time I go back to the foundation, all of the skin prep I've done has had time to sink in, and I can kind of see how their skin is reacting to everything. If they're starting to get oily, I know I need to mattify it a little bit. If they are still looking dry, I can add more hydration, stuff like that. Now that I have her foundation on, I'm going to do a light layer of cream contouring. I'm going to start by highlighting with Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I want to brighten her under eye area and upper cheekbone, so I'm using a shade 2 shades lighter than her skin tone, and I'm doing an upside down triangle under her eye. If you want to slim the bridge of the nose slightly, it helps to bring the lighter color up the sides. I'm going to add some highlighter to her forehead, the bridge of her nose, and her chin. This is where you can start to change the shape of the face. Her forehead is perfect, so we're not going to make it look larger or smaller, so I'm bringing it about halfway up. If you want to make it look smaller, don't bring the highlight up as high. If you want to make it look larger, bring it up higher. If you're using a beauty sponge, pay attention to the way you're blending it in. I like to do very soft pressing movements because I don't want to spread it around. I don't want to disrupt the foundation that's underneath. For contour, I'm using my RCMA contour palette in a flat synthetic concealer brush. This is where you can really choose to enhance the bone structure or change it a little bit if you want to. Pamela is flawless. I love everything about her face. So I'm just going to add a U shape on her forehead near her hairline, but I am going to bring the sides of her cheeks in a little bit. So you'll notice when I contour out that jaw, I'm bringing it a little bit forward away from her ear. Next, I'm taking an angled synthetic brush and I'm super lightly pressing the contour into the foundation to blend it, like super light, like fairy fingers. Because I don't want to lift that foundation that I've already laid down. I don't want the skin to look splotchy. I just want to blend in the contour to make it look more natural. After it's blended, I'm going to go ahead and set it with powders. I like to use the Makeup Forever Pro Finishing Powder to set my contour shade. Pamela is fairly fair, so I'm using the shade 140. So after I've set the contour shades, I'm going to go in with MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in a larger fluffy brush and set the rest of the foundation. Alright, next we're going to go in with the Amrezy highlighter by Anastasia, and this is seriously so pretty. She designed it to work with every skin tone, and so far all the people I've used it on, it's looked really beautiful. I usually don't find highlighters with a golden base very universal because either the undertones are way too yellow or they're too orange and they don't work for everybody, but the undertones on this one are really, really subtle. It's almost like a crystal gold. Somehow I lost the footage of me applying her lashes, but I added the Ardell Demi Wispies, and now I'm just going to add a little bit of mascara to push her natural lashes up into the extensions. I like to bend my mascara wand before I do this because I feel like it helps it apply better, and then I'll either use like a metal spatula behind the lashes or just my nail, and that way I can really push the lashes into the extensions without getting it onto her eyelid. Next, I'm going to go in with my MAC lip liner in Boldly Bare and line her lips and then just lightly fill it in to prep it for the liquid lipstick. A trick I like to do to get a nice lip shape is when I'm doing the top of the lip, I mark my high points of the Cupid's bow and then I draw an X, and that just helps me keep everything really symmetrical. After I have the lip liner on, I'm going to go in with Anastasia's Pure Hollywood Liquid Lipstick, and this color is so beautiful on everybody. It kind of has like a warm mauve undertone, so it works with a lot of different looks. I like to do the blush after I have the eyes and the lips done because then I can kind of see how my color palette is feeling, and I really like to match those tones in the blush. So I mixed Peaches and Gingerly by MAC and just applied it to the apples of her cheeks. I love the soft smokiness of this look paired with her super glowy skin. Make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel. I also live stream makeovers on my channel, so make sure you hit the bell notification so that you'll know when I'm streaming and you can hop into the live chat.